Well, a lot has changed. I think it's time for a build update. So we can do this now. We can actually, well, I can do this and stand here and not press anything. I don't have any healing potions now. I can stand here and just not die. I don't even have to look at the screen now. So we can just do this and literally kill everything. It's a little slower if I don't actually do stuff, but I should not be able to die here. And we're only at depth 285. I can do this deeper as well. Let's go ahead and knock these guys out, and let's show you how to set this up. It's really nice. And here's one even deeper. Now we're at 336. Can I just... Oh, I should have just stood right in the middle of that and just tried to see if that'll kill me. There are things, you know, eventually things set up correctly. Like, let's say there's some really bad negative modifiers in this zone. It might be able to hurt me then, but I'm not pushing any buttons at all. That's just my vengeance hitting back. But as you can see, this is not going to be an issue. We're going to be healed back up. We've got multiple layers of defense now. So it's really, really good. Let's knock these guys out. Let's go see if we can do maybe a map. Let's see. Yeah, this was too easy. This is depth 336. I've been down to 360. I'd like to go to 400 and see what this is like. Let's see if we can stand there. Nice. We can just stand in front of that. Pretty cool. All right, this is a depth 370. It starts to ramp up pretty quickly too. Let's see if we can stand here and not do anything. And maybe I'm just trying to see if we can actually die here. I've been testing this character out to see if I can die multiple times. But it was really difficult to find a spot to where I would die. So I'm not going to press anything. I don't have anything to press to live, so I don't have any healing potions. And pretty good so far. Did that get us below half health? If it does, that'll trigger adrenaline and a nice cheat death. There we got a little bit below half health there. Probably like 3/4 down. Nice. Pretty cool. And we have the DPS to just wreck this stuff. I think we're sitting at about 5 million under, you know, with everything's bleeding and doing the right things. And yeah, this is right between 4 and 5 million DPS. Let's see if we can knock this guy out real quick. This is a triple Azurite node. The stuff on the ground can be still deadly. There's some stuff on the ground. I don't know. He flies up in the air and does something. Then let's go over this build. And let's see. This guy's a pain. But we'll knock him out. Come on. Drop back down, buddy. Oh, he flies over you. There he goes. See, that stuff will still hurt me a little bit. And those are my tornadoes. Cool. And done. Nice. So we can definitely go a lot deeper than this. This is just what I've been messing around at. Cool. Let's go do it. Go over the build. And there's a lot of good things down here. We've got 4 of the adorned jewel part pieces. We sold those for 60 divine in total. We found 4 of those down here so far. Pretty cool. And tier 16 maps are very, very easy with this setup. Tier 17s are still hard. I'm probably going to have to go with an adorned jewel setup to get our health up, and then I should be in better shape. We'll see though. And let's turn this off and that off so that it just calms everything down. There's going to be a path of building link in the description. Also, if the video looks blurry, just double check your settings to make sure they're at 1080p. YouTube sometimes changes those and lowers them down. But let's get into the Path of Exile build on this Cyclone Slayer. And there's a lot to this. This is pretty cool. So let's open up and we're going to go over the flasks and we'll go from there. I went with one of each, and by each I mean there's an Onslaught flask, the silver flask, there's a diamond flask, a quicksilver flask for speed. This armor flask, I actually like the granite one versus the other one that does the taunt, the 20%. This is fine. And then also this one costs 13 divine, and you could use a regular consecrated one instead of this, but this is pretty powerful and it really adds a ton of damage. That 136% increased critical strike chance against enemies on consecrated ground is really powerful. That really does add a lot of damage. So I wanted to try this out and mix it in, and I got a good one. And then you make it 20%, and all of these auto, if you look back in the video, these all auto fire off. Now if I hold down Alt, we look at that second, I go for increased duration, I think across the board. and this has increased, reduced duration, but that's okay with the 20%. It's 8 seconds, and the uptime is a lot down there. So we hold down the Alt key. The tier, what you really want to shoot for is a tier 1 roll, but not only that, if you can afford it, a tier 1 is close to a tier 1 roll on the second thing, and then a perfect roll, like a 17. So this is really good for this one. We got a perfect roll on that one, crit, and movement speed on that one, 14%. And the armor's 1 off. That's cool, though. And I could improve this one. This could be like, I could get like a 58 on the armor and then maybe get a little bit longer duration. But this is still good enough. But I could improve this one. And then this one is expensive. Now, all these you can either make yourself very easily. There's videos on my channel to make perma flasks like this. It's very easy to roll these, and you'll be able to get through this. This should not be a problem. You should have at least like tier 2 rolls. With whatever you want. Increased duration, I like that one a lot. It's fine. But this is definitely not for bossing, because these won't fire off during a boss kill, because you'd have to manually fire them off. But they're there. And then I match up attack speed with the Onslaught. I match up critical strike with the Diamond Flask. Speed with speed. You don't have to match them up. They can be, you could have attack speed here and armor here. I just like matching them up. And not only that, you can't stack them. You can't stack attack speed and attack speed. When this one fires off, it'll overwrite the attack speed if you had it on this one. So don't try to like stack all attack speed or all armor across the bottom. It's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. Cool. Let's go on to the next thing. All right, let's start going over some of the gear and some of the choices. We're going to start with an optional thing. Headhunter. It's optional, but it's a lot of fun. So this costs right now maybe 5 divine, 6 divine for a basic one. That's very reachable this league. You can get 5 or 6 divine. You can definitely do it. That wouldn't be my first priority for divine purchases. It'll be maybe my second. But you can get one of these, an Immortal Flesh. Let's watch what this thing does to our defenses from our armor. Because we're running Purity of Elements, so we can never be ignited. We can never be ignited, frozen, or shocked. So that's a permanent 40% to our armor. Now watch what it does to our armor up there. That gives us about 1,500 armor just on that. It also reduces the damage taken from hits on those small hits from 41 and below. Doesn't help versus massive hits. It gives us a ton of regen. It also gives, you could also get a corrupted version of this. Let's see if we do a corrupted version. Let's see how much, just if we said just this and search for it. Not bad. You can get a corrupted version with maximum life 6% for pretty cheap. But then you can get a double corrupt for 40% while any flask is in effect. That's a really nice one. This is pretty cool. This is a good one. Just double check to see what that your elemental resistances can handle it, and they should be able to. Or you can just go with a Headhunter, which just gives you tons of buffs and weird stuff and fun stuff to do. So we'll go with that. But this is completely fine. Next up, this is the really important thing. This will take your survivability up through the roof. Let's take a look. It's called Defiance of Destiny. It's dirt cheap this league. Let's take that off there so it doesn't skew it. We'll just say any Defiance of Destiny. You're looking at 2 divine. You should be able to get 2 divine by level 95. You're going to be getting divines fairly easily, at least chaos, and then buying some divines with them. This thing is flat out unbelievable. And you want to get that. If we hold down the Alt key, see that last line? It says gain 34 to 35% of your missing unreserved health before being hit. So let's say I'm at 1,000 in health right here out of my 5,000. So I'm missing 4,000. If I get hit by anything, by like a 2,000 hit, a 3,000 hit, normally that'll kill you. But this thing instead, if you're at that level, it'll heal you for 40% of your missing health. So we're looking at, if you're missing 4,000, you're looking at about 3,500 hit health back. And then it'll take the hit for 3,000, which is less. So that 3,000 hit will actually heal you for 500. But the thing is, we're taking tons of little hits. Let's say you take a hit for 1 health and you're at 1,000 health. That'll heal you for 3,800, or 40% of that, 1,800. I'm sorry, but you get the idea. These little hits, and lots of them, will heal you back up. That's why I'm sitting in circles like that, and they can't kill me because they keep healing me. If it gets down, if this goes down, it goes. Any hit will heal me back up really, really quickly. And there's no cooldown on it, and it just is amazing. And then you could add something like Vampirism, which recovers 3% of my life on kill. So you're looking at 10% would be about 500. So you're looking at 150 life per kill. But then on top of that, we have Recoup, which is the damage taken. 12% of my damage taken is recouped over 4 seconds. Well, I have that there and here. This is mirrored, and I'll show you what that means. So I've got 42% of my damage taken is recouped back. So every time they're doing damage to me, I'm getting a little over 10% of the damage taken per second back to me. So it's a really, I'm regenning that way as well. Our regen is at about 700 when we're cruising through there per second, on top of all the rest of this as well. So it gets really, really, really hard to kill you. All right, so this item is the first item you should really, really buy, and then maybe a Headhunter, but you can get by without that. You can also get by without this. This costs 13 divine. These are just things that you add them as you go along, and have a good time with it. All right, next item. Kalandra's Touch. Let's see how much this is. This was 30 divine last league. Now it's down to 2 for that one. It's probably closer to 4. I think I got this for like 1.5 divine late at night. It was really cheap. Don't get a corrupted one. It won't matter, because it's just, all this does is it makes this ring right here duplicated right here. So whatever you have on this doesn't really matter. But this can be duplicated. So let's look at what we duplicated. We're going with -3 to the channeling cost. It's a prefix, so I made sure that the ring had a prefix open. I went with a chaos ring, because then that gets duplicated as well. If you don't have your chaos, if this value right here, see how at the top there it says the implicit is not 23%? You need to re-roll that with a blessed orb. Because like this, I'll just do it right now. Doesn't take much. Here we go. So we're going to re-roll this. 21, and we have a range there of 17 to 23. So let's see how it should be a 1 in 6 chance to get it back to where it is. Nope. There we go. So spend those, get that up. Same thing with the implicits up here. I have implicits on my helm. Make sure those are 16 and 10. Anytime you get an implicit that you can re-roll, just make sure you've re-rolled it. There's a Fortify and the 25% chance. Make sure that's re-rolled. Every little bit counts for your implicits, even on this one. Now I can't re-roll the 4% action speed. I think that could be 5%, but the travel, when I got to 20, it was at 18. Might as well use them. They're sitting here. Very cool. So we've duplicated that. We went with life. I needed some attributes. I got some regen, so that's 110 regen off that. There's almost 40. We're looking at 38 life per hit. And the recoup. Very nice, easy ring. Cool. Let's go to the next thing. The boots are pretty much the same. Action speed, you actually want to roll that. And the action speed is a Searing Exarch. So you're going to use these kind of things to roll that movement. Don't get action speed. Action speed is a more multiplier and not a just like 4%. Movement speed is no big deal. This one adds 4% multiplier to your attack speed and your movement speed and cast speed of 2. So really important to get that, and then also really important to get the cooldown recovery rate on travel skills, so that our traveling automation thing is firing off more frequently. So we're moving faster. Then I just got the movement speed, the 30% plus the 12%. If I haven't been hit recently, I went with that one. And then I've got dexterity on there, life, and increased rarity of items found. I probably don't need that on there, but oh well. And then I had a suffix open, so I crafted on chaos with whichever one you have. Whichever one you have open. Let's see, we got to actually put our stat back on. Yeah, I'm over capped, so it didn't really matter. But I just put chaos on there with lightning. Nice. The armor. Technically, you could actually go for an armor that has like 1,000 armor on it and just go for whatever else. But you really want to get that fortify on there, the implicit, and that's done with the Eater of Worlds. So that's in here again, and it's right here. You can just use these and roll these until you get until you get fortify. Cool. And then I went with the critical strike multiplier for attack damage. That's the use this kind of stuff to roll that. And you can use the more expensive ones and you'll get a better version of that. Like I think you could get 11% on fortify, but I don't need it. And these are cheap. These are really cheap. These are still cheap. These are starting to get more expensive. I think it's like 10 chaos per roll on this one. I haven't even checked the cost of these, the super ones. But, you know, if you really want to do it and you have the chaos to burn, you can get better versions of those. You know, you might be able to get 30% increased multiplier. So every bit matters and it makes the game easier and easier and easier. So there's always room to improve. And then I went with, I actually just went with a bunch of resistances on here, but you don't have to do that. I went with that, but there's other ways, you know. Oh, and I went with no life on there. I specifically looked for ones with no life modifiers because I took this, which is the 15% increased maximum life if there's no life modifiers on my body armor. I'm probably going to switch this out and try to find some armor that just has flat life on it and get rid of that 15% because it's kind of a wash. And not only that, it will save me a point. So I'm probably going to change this armor to life armor with a few resists if I need to, and I can swap them around on the horticulture on this station. So I can, you know, let's say it had just cold, fire, and then it had life on it. I could switch that around if I needed lightning right over here. I could switch the fire to lightning and be set. So that's the next piece of armor I'll look for, and then I'll back out of that. I wanted to test that 15%, and even though I do have a lot of life, like flat life everywhere, it just wasn't good enough. It didn't like boost me up. It was pretty much a wash. So I'm going to be backing out of that. But yep, I would go with life, a good life armor, decent armor on it, and then life roll, and then some resists if you need them, and then whatever else you want, and just have fun with it. Pretty cool. Same thing up here. It looks like there's extra spots open, but they're actually not. See, it's all prefix, 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 suffix, suffix, suffix. There, you know, it's 2 lines combined into one. But a bunch of life, some regen on there, some cold resistance that I probably don't need. So there's places to upgrade things, but I needed some intelligence on this one. So not much though. Nice. And then we rolled the attack damage and area of effect. Here's the thing with helms, it's really hard to get some good rolls. These are, for some reason, when you're doing the implicits with the Ichors and the Embers, there's a lot of caster ones that don't help us, but these do help us, so I kept those. If you get the increased area of effect, I think that's a very low chance to get that one, like 2 or 3%, so I would definitely keep that, I think. Nice. Let's go over the gloves, and I think we've gone over everything else. So the gloves, you can use anything else you want. I found these, they were only 25 chaos. They had life on them. They had curse enemies with vulnerability on a hit. Those 2 things. And then the fun thing is it does rampage, and the rampage is the thing that ramps up. So in a lot of places I can get that up to 1,000 rampage damage, and it's just fun. It does it does a bunch more damage. It's just a lot of fun. I recovered 20% of life on a rampage thing, so that's another layer of defense. So 20% of my life, I get 1,000 every time it goes up a tier. There's Rampage works like this. As you go up a tier, an effect will happen, and then it also heals me for 1,000. Well, the thing is, there's 13 tiers from as you go from 1 to 1,000 in your Rampage stacks, and you notice them. You'll hit it, and all of a sudden things will start happening. That's like a tier. There's 13 count times where that, hits a breakpoint in your Rampages, and then that effect goes off. It's pretty cool. And I don't know why they put 4 life per second on there. That's just weird. But it's something. But these gloves, you can get other gloves. But I do like having the vulnerability on hit. So now the weapon. The weapon is here. Basically, you need to look for a physical DPS weapon. Right now, I can't find an upgrade. The only upgrade on here, it's not even, there's nothing. There was one for 100 divine, but it wasn't better than what I had because it had like elemental damage or some kind of, the modifiers were not good on it. This one is the best weapon I can actually buy. And I got it for 45 divine. And then I'm going to be selling my old weapon. Let's see, my old weapon was 1,000 DPS, but a really good one. Let's see. And I'm selling it for 35 divine. And that's a good price. 32 would be 30 to 35. 35 is a good price. 30 is a deal at this point. So I don't want to sell it for less than that. And then that'll just help that those divines will go into the next purchase of the next thing I get. But the weapon is basically it added about 20% to my DPS when I put it in Path of Building. Really cool. We do a lot of bleeds, so the increased bleed is fine. The accuracy, I needed a little bit of accuracy, and then the attack speed, the physical damage, and then that big physical damage increase is the really cool thing. So nice. And that ends up with a 1165 physical DPS weapon, 30% quality. Very cool. There's other things we could do to this, but it's really risky and costly. But we're good with that. Let's go on to the next thing. Let's take a look at the current atlas, or the passive tree that I'm doing. We have this one, and this hasn't changed at all. We're still doing the crit strike. We're doing the headsman. We've got no reflected damage taken because we use brutality on our cyclone setup. We don't do any other elemental or chaos damage, so we don't get any reflected damage. So we're immune to physical reflect and elemental reflect and chaos reflect. But the chaos reflect doesn't really happen. And then we're going with the accuracy and then the big area of effect. So it's pretty simple there. Let's take a quick look at our gems. Our jewels, I'm sorry. We've got, these are nice. What you're going to have to do is start looking for things and then adding them, looking for modifiers and then looking for ways to add. So what I did was, on this one I had 7, I want life on it, flat out. I just want life. So I get 6% life or more. And then I start looking for other modifiers like crit strike, anything that helps me. The 10% to all elemental, that's pretty cool, and it was worth it. And then the reduced poison duration is fine, and the crit strike. So it's a double corrupted jewel. That's a good one. I like that. And we're going to be adding another jewel after this too. Probably one with corrupted blood so that I can get a point back here. So I'm going to get a point here back, and I'm going to get a point back here. So I'll get 2 points back by doing this next jewel that we work into this operation. All right. So, and we could do that over this way as well. We could actually peel off and make a medium cluster jewel thing over here. We might do it that way. It depends. So that's the first jewel. Second jewel, we'll hover over it. Just an 8% increased critical strike, and then some accuracy I needed. What else does this have? The burning damage is the one that we don't. So this one is to be replaced because it's got I don't want that burning damage on there. So at the time that was a cheap enough thing, and I got it. But there's upgrades out there. So and that's the whole point. There's a lot of upgrades to this to be made yet. A lot. A lot. So we can get even stronger, and it's pretty cool. And then, which other gem? We had that gem. Did we have a third gem? I don't think so. Jewel. I keep calling them gems. But this is the, you can look in the path of building as well, but this is what I took. I took all this. We've got some increased armor here by putting a tattoo on there, because I don't need that many strength things. You could just scour these off if you don't want the armor from it. And I probably could. I can get some more life. We can get closer to 5,000. Just went up here. All these life nodes. All of these life nodes I took. I took all of these life nodes. This life node thing. I can actually back out of this because we're a little bit overcapped in our resistances. So maybe the next one, maybe this one will have a plus 10 resist all. I'll back out of all this. That'll keep us capped, and then find some other matching set of good stuff here. Went in here. This adds 1 point to our overcap, and then as far as our max resist, same thing here. This is where we get rid of corrupted blood. Here we're immune to stuns, and this is a good thing. We're immune to stuns, but we can't evade. Well, with that Defiance of Destiny thing, I want to get hit by everything. I want to hits heal me. Only the big hits will hurt me, and they have to be in a certain situation to hurt me too. So yeah, this is actually a good thing. Having 0 evasion actually helps with this build, which is weird, but it's nice. And then some AoE up here. Damage. I got rid of the movement speed here. I didn't need that, so and I didn't need the accuracy, so I lost 5 movement speed there. But you can get, if you need some dex and intelligence, you can get this back in, and then maybe back off on a couple of these. Nice. And we're down here. And let's go over this. This is the important setup. You want to get a cluster jewel with only 8 added passives, so that it adds a tree similar to this. And then you can get something, mine, the small passives like this, they regen some life, they do some two-handed damage, and they do 3% to chaos resist. Well, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty cool. I like that. And then it opens up. I took one with Titanic Swings. I don't think that's over here. Let me double check. Titanic Swings. Did I double duplicate? No, Titanic Impacts. Just double checking. I think that's Titanic Swings is one of the things that is not on a notable that's not over here. Just double checking. Could always make mistakes. No, it's not. I don't think so. Cool. So that unlocks this whole little cluster of stuff. Then you're going to add these two things. This is just another added layer of offense and defense. Let's pull this one over here. I think you can get this for like 6 divine. This combo, you need both. So you got to look for a Forbidden Flesh Jewel, and then you got to type in allocates from Duelist class, and then it'll be a drop-down list of all the different allocations you can get. But this gives me the 5th Ascendancy from the champion, I think. It's the first strike, last to fall. And what that does is my hits permanently intimidate items that are on full life. So anytime I hit somebody, they're going to get intimidated, which is extra damage, increased attack damage. If for some reason I fall below 50% health, it happens a couple times, I get 20 seconds of adrenaline. I also recover 25% of my life instantly, I think. The recover is instant, I think. Recoup is slow, recovery is instant, I'm pretty sure. And then it also removes any of the ailments. There is an ailment that I think poison, sapped, poisoned, because I'm immune to a lot of those other ones. I'm not immune to regular bleeds, but it would get rid of it if I just happen to hit it, so that's good. So bleeds are just a non-issue for me at all. I don't have to worry about those. Poisons are pretty much a non-issue as well now. So then you get these, you can go with that. There's also one called Gratuitous Violence. That's the more expensive thing. That's going to cost probably 50 plus divine to get that combo. But I want to unlock that. It's a fun one. But this is offense and defense, so I like it, and it's pretty cool. Nice. I don't think everything else is pretty much self-explanatory here. This one I got the increased critical strikes. Over here we went with critical strikes against bleeding enemies. All the enemies are bleeding. We went with some more melee strike range here. We went with... Actually, I could add something here. I don't think there were any really good ones. Gain a frenzy charge when you hit it. No. I don't think I ever really took any of these. Reduced enemy chance to block. Crit strikes with swords. I could probably do something like that. I'll have to look and see if something like we could replace that 3 melee range and go with crit strikes and see what it does in the path of building. If I want to get rid of my multiplier and add 120% increased critical strike and see what that does to my overall DPS. It's probably worth taking. Probably. There's always ways to tweak the build. I think we covered all of this stuff now. So let's go over the gems next. One of the things a lot of people will overlook on the Cyclone of Tumult, you can get it, what do you call it? The Val version, the corrupted version, level 21. How much do those cost? 1 divine, if you go for that. Not bad. But that's a little more damage than the regular one. The regular ones cost like 50 chaos, but the level 21s cost another 80 chaos. But again, that's just another step up. But here's the important thing. It's got to be quality 20, because look at the bottom line there for quality. It's 5% more attack speed per stage. We have 6 stages. That's 30%, and it's a more multiplier. It's ridiculous. The damage output is through the roof. How we get around the movement speed is with our boots, with this that's auto procking, and then there's a whole video I did on the automation setup. So I'm going to go over that next real quick, but there's a video on that, and there's one caveat. When you engage your Cyclone, not when it's running, but when you engage it, it'll actually remove a couple of those things, the phase run or the withering step. Where is it? Withering step. It removes it, but you're going to get it back on, and it's still worth it to me to have that fired up and going on there. Also, you can also do Blood Rage without automating it. You can just turn it on, but I don't like doing that. I like it running, and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to have to push a button. This build is built for being lazy. So Cyclone. You could do maybe channeling support instead of this faster attacks thing. I'm going to be looking into it and maybe get some more damage, but 54% attack speed, a level 20, and then a quality 20 is really powerful. And then we come up here, we have Awakened Brutality. The regular version of Brutality is a little less damage, and it doesn't have the crushed enemies line. So if you're going to get one of these, look for a level 5 one. Those aren't too expensive, I think. Let's see. And I don't know if it's going to show up this way. Oh, nope. Like this. 1.5 divines, 1 point... Yeah, so you can get one. Just make sure it has the line that says crush enemies with for 4 seconds on hit. 10%. Make sure it has that line, because some of them don't have that line. Same thing over here on the Awakened physical damage report thing. Make sure you're at level 5. The level 6 ones, they add a little bit more damage, but they're like 7 divine. Yeah, they're expensive. That's another step up. But there's always steps up. That's the good thing. It just costs. And then this one, make sure it has the Intimidate line. We get Intimidate from the other thing, but I just wanted to have that on there as well. So make sure that's on there. And we're in good shape there. And then I put Rage support. I get up to 50 stacks of Rage really, really easily, and it adds a lot of damage. A lot of damage. And then make sure it's 20% as well. The 20% adds just some increased damage, not a more multiplier, but increased. And then we have Pulverize for the big area, fun, cool stuff. And more area damage. That's a more multiplier. So that's a lot. That's a good thing. Multipliers are good. More is better than increased. the automation gem, just make sure you go over the automation. I did a whole video on it. It has phase run, make sure it's 20%. Go ahead and put, if you want, I moved everything over to life tap instead of mana, so I don't even use mana on these. So this gets used with mana. Steel Skin is automated, and Blood Rage is also automated, and Withering Step. And this is all uses out of life. So when I turn these on, that's how I turn it on. It makes me run faster, and see, it just sprints you around. And then with the with that, what is that? Shift space, or even running faster. It's just nice. And then when I'm fighting, I don't need to really run faster. I'm fighting something hard, I'm slowing down. And then Withering Step. So life tap, automation, 6 gems with Blood Rage, just for fun. And we get the Blood Rage up to 20%, because then 20% and 20% quality, because then it does the Blood Rages. I don't know if we increased attack speed. I don't think we'd. Oh yeah, it does. It goes from on the baseline thing here, right here. Let's see. The 20% increased attack speed is what we're going for. Nice. And let's go for the next ones. Cold Snap. If you have the room for it, go ahead and throw in cast when damage taken with Cold Snap. It does. It gives you the chance to gain some frenzy charges when creatures die in that area. And this thing procs a lot. Just do level 1 and level 1, because all we're going for is that. It puts some chilled ground on the thing too. That doesn't hurt. It's a fun thing to do. We also get frenzy charges from Blood Rage, which is really great, which makes our phase runs last longer, and also will end up you end up with 3 stacks of frenzy charges quite often. In fact, this build you end up with 3 stacks of frenzy charges, endurance charges, and power charges really, really often. Then we've got Purity of Elements. Make sure it's at 20% and 20%. War Banner, I just stick that on there. Oh, 1 second, I gotta do a deal. All right, and let's see where War Banner. You can throw that on there. I don't even drop it down. I just have it on, and I just don't even drop it on. Now I think the nearby enemies take 11% increased physical damage, and then it helps with accuracy. Let's turn this off and double check. Maybe I haven't paid attention to this for a while, so let's see here. Yep, and then we turn this on. Let's see. Oh, we'll turn on that. We're at 99%, and if we turn that on, yeah, so it helps with the accuracy and the physical damage when it's just on. And if you really have a tough boss, you can just drop it down, and then you can get a real nice boost in for quite a while. But you just got to remember to pick it up and have it back on again. Nice. All right, let's take a look on this side. I have Ancestral Protector. I just had this open, so I threw on increased critical strike support for this thing, so it just does more damage. I was like, okay. And then we have Blood and Sand, and we want to run in the blood stance, not the sand stance. More damage. And then I use Precision. We're at level 18 to get to make sure I'm at 100% hit. Precision also adds critical strike chance too, so it's pretty cool. And then up here we have Vengeance with life gain on hit, just because. And then I added this Call to Arms with Enduring Cry. I've left him at level 1. I'm sorry, I left him at level. No, these are full. I'm sorry. These are going to be level 20 and level 20. The thing is, it takes 28 mana. The cooldown is 6 seconds, and this automates it. So if we go like this and I turn it on, there's our 35 mana, and our regen naturally gets it back up. Here it's going to proc, and then it goes down. So when that pops up, it's going to pop up right now. We get this life regen that spikes up really high. Let's see if we can see that on the screen. Life regen per second. There, it spikes up. We're at 430. When we're out fighting, this is sitting at around 700, but then it spikes up for a second to 2700. So that's another heal that just pops off, and it also gives us endurance charges. So we're sitting at 3 endurance charges quite often, which also reduces physical damage taken and all that kind of stuff. So we're sitting there, and this armor value gets up to 90%. It sits between 80 and 90% when we're fighting. It happens quite often. So that's the setup that I use, and I think I went over all the gems, all the gear, Atlas tree. If you're running maps and stuff, the easiest thing to think about or do is to make things life easier. Get a bunch of shrines right here. There's 3 shrine things. This one, this helps put shrines in there. This one doubles the shrine buff. It'll give a random second one, and then it makes it more impactful, 30% more impactful. This adds a bunch of creatures around there. Might as well have more creatures. They give a lot of EXP. They're magic. And then this one down here, where is it? Where is it? Oh, right here. I've got actually. Oh, this isn't my. This is my EXP one. I gotta add this in. And shrines contain an additional maps contain an additional shrine with increased duration. So I've got to tweak this. There we go. So shrines, you want to have an additional shrine and then increased duration. So that'll get it up to 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then additional ones in there, and you're in good shape. And the other thing you want to take is Nico. Just make sure you have this. And you can either force Nico in or spend the points to get your Nico nodes. There's a bunch of them. Just take all these that add it in there, and then Nico will be forced in there, and then you get this bonus. So those 2 things will help do your maps. It will help your maps be easier for you to do. But you don't have to take those, and you can do your Atlas any way you want. Really, you can just have fun with it. Pretty cool. So, Pantheon, real quick. I went with the movement speed for each creature nearby up to 8%, and then additional physical damage reduction for each creature nearby as well. And then you unlock, just make sure to capture all the bosses. You go to the map with that divine vessel and capture the bosses. Make sure you've done that. Same thing down here. Enemies I've hit recently, 50% reduced life regen. Just in case you run into a life regen creature, I took that. And also, I don't need the other thing. I might skip this up and change this to something else. Let me take a look. Because I've switched to this from my old health. If you're using a health potion, this is pretty nice. But if you're not, I would move over to maybe something like this. But it's your choice. But I'm going to have to go capture the Erebix guy. So I'm going to move this up here to help remind me that I have to go capture him. And to capture him, all I do is I look up here, go to the Atlas, type in Erebix. Where is he? There he is. So I'd put a divine thing. I need to capture him. And I don't even think it needs to be magic or higher, but cemetery map tier 11. So I'd come in here, grab one of these. Where is it? Fragments, I think down here. There we go. Put that there. And then we come up to a cemetery. And that was tier 11, right? Cemetery, cemetery, cemetery. Right there. Yeah, we just run it just like that. So I'll just put this in here. And go capture the boss. Activate. Activate, doesn't matter. And we should just be able to run in there, find the boss, capture him. I'll be right back. Let's go find where he is at. Let's see if we can just blast through here. And we'll grab whatever this is. And that. And let's go find the boss real quick. Sorry, guys. Will be interesting. Just walk right through all this stuff. Nice. There's a shrine there. I'll take that too. Why not? Is the boss in here? Well, this is going to be easy. This guy. And done. I guess we'll take that. Pop back out. And it should be right here. Just like that. And now we have it. And now it's unlocked. Just like that. Pretty cool. Now the thing is, you don't have to spend 50 or 45 divine on a weapon like this. You can search for one that, instead of 1100, try start around 700. Let's see if there's a 700 DPS weapon. 85 divine. That's just ridiculous. Let's find. Oh, we can without 6 links. Let's go without 6 links. Now we're down to 22 divine. Oh, without the 3 white. Sorry, you don't need that on there either. So let's search for that. And now we're down to 2 divine. So yeah, the 3 white sockets is me putting an omen of blanching on there. So I didn't need that listed. So we could even go back to 6 link, 6 divine. Without 6, you can 6 link your own thing for very cheap, like 30, 40 chaos, not very much at all. And you're in good shape. So you could get a 2 divine weapon with at least 700. And let's see if we can change that stat up to like, what if we go for 844? How much is that? 4 divine. So there's weapons out there that you can, step your way up into the higher and higher tiers. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, just let me know down below. But this is a really, really easy, fun build. And I'm going to be pushing deeper into delves and having a good time with it. I'll put I'll try to put the chapters down at the bottom as well. I hope this helps you guys, and I hope I didn't leave anything out. But this build is just a lot of fun. And then there's going to be updates to it in the future as well. I plan on doing even more to this. There's a lot to do to it. There really is. Oh boy. Have a good one and enjoy.